Last night, Ryan Sandberg had one of those nights. 6 hits in a row. Overall, 8 in a row. Tying the Chicago Cub record for most consecutive hits. Now watch Sammy Sosa. He steals second on a pitch out. He doesn't stop at third. He races for the plate, and he scores easily. That's the kind of a night it was as the Cubs lost the first game and won the second game. That sets the stage for the rubber game this afternoon. A great matchup of pitchers. Mike Morgan for the Cubs and Davi Cone for the Mets. Stay with us for all the thrilling action coming your way in a moment.
Chicago Cubs baseball on Channel 9. The Cubs are brought to you by Bud Light. Look for the Bud Summer Game details at participating retailers. By True Value. Got a tough job to do? You can do it with True Value hardware stores. Buick and your better Buick dealers. The home of American-made quality and value. By United. Chicago's hometown airline is proud to be the official airline of the Chicago Cubs. By your local 76 dealers who invite you to go with the spirit of 76. And by Mountain Dew. Drink it and get vertical.
Harry Carey with Steve Stone. We're at Chase Stadium in New York. This is the third final and rubber game of the series between the Cubs and the Mets. You know, Steve, they say splitting a doubleheader is like kissing your sister. If that's true, the Cubs are mighty, mighty happy to kiss their sister, because after losing with Maddox, they came back and won with Jeff Robinson to gain an even break in the doubleheader.
And what they have to do now, Harry, is win with Mike Morgan, because he's going to the mound against Davi Cone. These are two pretty good pitchers, and yet the ERAs for both of them against the opposition is well over 4.5. Should be a good confrontation, Harry, and I look for a low-scoring game.
It should be a dandy, and of course the Cubs realize the importance of it, and so do the Mets. But the Cubs primarily, they're on the road. If they can win 2 out of 3 here and go into Montreal and win at least 2 out of 3 there, why, they would have had a 500 road trip, and that's all you can really expect at this time of the year.
Well, the Mets were dealt a serious blow yesterday. Brett Saberhagen back on the disabled list. Dwight Gooden threw today. He looked pretty good, and maybe they'll activate him in about 10 days.
All right, we'll have the starting lineups for you in a moment. Hello again, everybody. Harry Carey with Steve Stone and Tom Brenneman at Chase Stadium. Third final in the rubber game of the series. Here is the Cubs lineup presented by Mountain Dew. Sanchez leads it off, playing shortstop. Sandberg at second, Grace at first. Dawson in right, May in left. Sosa in center. Wilkins catching. Vizcaino playing third base. And Mike Morgan going for his 10th victory of the year is on the hill. The defensive alignment for the Mets. Boston, Darryl Boston in left, Vince Coleman in center, and Bobby Bonilla in right. Maggott in at third, Schofield at short, Randolph at second, Eddie Murray, the first baseman, Todd Hundley catching, and David Cone, who's 112 and lost 4, will be the pitcher. The umpires are Ed Montague behind the plate, Tom Hallion at first, Mike Winters at second, and Phil Cousy is at third. A nice crowd has already gathered, and more coming in all the time. A beautiful day for baseball, and now all the Cubs need to do is take this game and go into Montreal with a 2-1 record.
And to take this game, they've got to get to David Cone, who's having a very good year. You know, he had one miraculous year in his career. 1988, he was 20-3. Followed up by 3 successive years when he won 14 games, losing 8 in 89, 10 in 90, 14 and 14 last year. But this year looks like another one of those great years for David Cone. He's 12-4, the ERA 2.71. That having been said, the fact is that the Cubs have handled him very well throughout his career. He's 4-7 against the Cubs, the ERA 4.96. They've probably done more damage to David Cone than any club in the National League. He faced him once this year, got a no decision. They scored 4 earned runs off him in 8 innings, and that's pretty close to his lifetime ERA against him. So if they beat David Cone, if they have to face him at all, you want to face him in the daytime. He's hittable. At night, he can be very tough, but it's under the bright sunlight, and the Cubs have got a good shot behind Mike Morgan.
There's a sign that greeted the Mets. Boy, I tell you, it's a little tough. Talking about David Cone, he leads the league in strikeouts by 37 over John Smoltz of Atlanta, who's runner-up to him. He's going for the 3rd straight year of leading the league in strikeouts. He has a high of 19 strikeouts in one game. Not this year, against Philadelphia a couple years ago. So he is a guy you have trouble hitting the ball against. But as Steve mentioned, he has had trouble against the Cubs. But by the same token, so is Mike Morgan, pitching for the Cubs today with an outstanding record. But he, too, has had trouble with the Mets. His overall record, he's won 2 and lost 3.
There's a man swinging the hot bat, Ryne Sandberg, sitting next to a man who the Cubs hope won't be out long, Steve Buechele. When you talk about strikeout pitchers, leading the league in strikeouts for 2 years is very difficult. For 3 years, it's even more difficult, and David Cone is trying to do that. If he wins this year, he will have led the National League 3 straight years, and that'll be the first time since Warren Spahn did it, 1949 through 52. And the last time the feat was accomplished by a right-hand pitcher, you have to look all the way back to Dizzy Dean, 1932 to 35. So it doesn't happen often, but David Cone has the kind of stuff that makes you think about the great pitchers of yesteryear.
You know, Steve, quite often it's a common occurrence. If a game is listed for 130, it starts at 135. If it's listed for 1, it starts at 105. But here they do the most peculiar thing. If a game is scheduled at 7:30, they don't start until 7:40. If it's listed for a 1:30 start, they don't start until 1:40. And here go the Mets onto the field, led by Bobby Bonilla, the first one out of the dugout, as if to say to the fans, you want to boo me? I'm giving you a good chance as I run out all by myself.
Well, Harry, this game was listed at 1:30, and it's going to go off probably 1:45 before everything's been exchanged. The umpire's still around home plate. I don't believe there's been an exchange of lineup cards yet, but David Cone's going to start warming up.
Well, the umpires are certainly in a very, very friendly mood, all laughing down there. And the only man who can tell us what they're laughing about would be Todd Hundley, the catcher of the Mets, who was in the catching paraphernalia waiting for the first pitch of the ball game. David Cone, who is 29 years old, out of Kansas City, Missouri. And that's where the Mets got him in a trade with the Kansas City Royals for a name that will never be forgotten in Mets history or in Kansas City Royals history. Ed Hearn, a catcher. How many games did he play after the trade?
He didn't play too many. But David Cone has done quite a job with the Mets in a year where Dwight Gooden has gone down, where Brett Saberhagen is just 3-3 with all kinds of physical problems. David Cone has been a godsend for the Mets. In his 22 starts, the Mets are 16-6, and bear in mind this is a team under 500. So you can tell that they're pretty confident when David Cone goes to the mound. He's won his last 7 decisions. His ERA in those 7 wins has been .291.
Well, let's hope that Ray Sanchez, who started that second game last night with a double to right center and scored a moment later when Ryne Sandberg tripled down the right field line. Hopefully he will start the game off with a hit or become a base runner, because Cone is the kind of guy probably you have to get early, and if you don't get him early, you don't get him at all.
One thing you have to watch for with David Cone, if you're a right-hand hitter, is he will drop down sidearm, and he uses a lot more angles on his pitches than most pitchers. The one problem that David will have is when he drops down sidearm on occasion, many times he'll leave that ball over the inner portion of the plate. If you do that and get any give from the hitter, that's right in his wheelhouse, because if he's bailing out at all, then the ball is right in the middle of the plate to him. So David Cone will have to concentrate on keeping the sidearm fastball away from the right-handers, and the Cubs have 4 left-hand hitters in the lineup to face him today.
And while he strikes out a lot, he also throws a lot of home run pitches, too. 11 home runs have been hit off David Cone this year. Here's Sanchez ready to lead it off. 6 homers have been hit off Mike Morgan, by the way. Sanchez hitting .225. 1 out of 8 in last night's doubleheader. First pitch a little bit low.
One thing to look for today, if the Cubs do get the usual amount of base runners, David Cone has thrown 8 wild pitches, and that's far and away tops on the Mets staff.
Fouls and out of play, and the count is even, and the ball on the strike. Sanchez, his average don't reflect it. Doesn't reflect it. But he's been hitting the ball very solidly, game after game. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's the drive to right, going to be caught. Bobby Bonilla's there. Makes the catch. Sanchez flies to Bonilla. That brings up Ryne Sandberg, who in last night's doubleheader had a run of 6 straight hits, 6 out of 6. They finally got him out the last couple of times on a ground ball to the third baseman twice. That 6-for-6 streak, when carried back to the last game at home before launching this road trip, he had 2 hits his last 2 times up. So he tied a club record for most consecutive hits, 8 in a row. There's a pitch outside, ball 1.
Give you an idea about the durability of David Cone. The Cubs as a staff have 6 complete games. David Cone himself has 7 with 5 shutouts.
There's a pitch in there, a strike ball. Boy, that was a high strike called by Ed Montague. Sandberg with 306 career stolen bases. He's second on the Cubs all-time list.
Howard Johnson is being given the day off today. He is swinging such a bad bat. Jeff Torborg wants him to just sit and look at this one. Darrell Boston in his place in left field.
Now the pitch. Curve of beauty. Curve ball right in there. 2-2. 1 man out. Sandberg digging in. Throws his bat at the ball, and it may drop it. Boy, when you're hot, you're hot. Now Boston has trouble picking the ball up, and Sandberg's at second base. When you're hot, you're hot. He's completely fooled by the curveball, threw his bat at it, and looped a single in the left, and takes second on Boston's error.
I got to believe this is going to be an error on Boston. This will be his first of the year. This one getting away from Boston. No, they're giving him a double.
Oh,
so Christmas comes early for Darrell Boston. Now they're giving him an error. So they announce double and then an error, which it should be.
Here now is Grace. Grace 3 out of 8 in a doubleheader last night. Added in a couple of runs in that second game. The Cubs didn't score any in the first game. Cohen's bit. A little bit low.
Mark Grace is working on a 62-game errorless streak, which is the longest of his career. And that's some accomplishment for a man who has to make some throws on pickoffs, make some throws on cutoffs. Grace has had a miraculous year with the glove.
Ooh, he had a good company this one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Outfield straight away and deep. Curveball low and inside. Oh, he didn't swing it bad. They appealed to Phil Cousy, and it looked as if he kept the bat on his shoulder, but his body went around. Watch it again.
Phil Cousy said that was enough. And so he goes in the hole 1-2. Bear in mind, the arms in the outfield aren't great. Bonilla probably with the best arm in right field, but he does not get to the ball quickly.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Dawson would be next. Inside. That evens the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That gives you an idea what kind of eye Mark Grace has. There's not a lot of guys that would have taken that pitch. It was pretty much unhittable. Probably a 92-mile-an-hour fastball in on his hands, but he knew that it was just inside, and he trusted that Ed Montague would see it the same way.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Davi Cone. A high fly ball will be caught. Coleman coming in. So Grace flies out to Coleman, and it's up to Dawson, who was hitless yesterday, 0 for 5 in the doubleheader. Ryne Sandberg has played 60 consecutive errorless games this year. That's the 3rd longest errorless stretch of his career. He holds a major league record, 123 games without an error from June the 21st, 1989 until May 17th, 1990. And a 61-game streak, June 30th through September the 7th, 1984. Dawson is not hitting the way the Dawson we all know usually hits. He's batting only .252. 15 homers, 54 RBI. 0-1 the count. Swings, and he's in the hole. He barely kicked the ball foul. Dawson has 392 career home runs. So that makes him only 8 shy of the coveted 400. Inside a fastball. Boy, that's what Cone does so well. He's got such a good curveball. When he finds you leaning across a little bit to reach that outside corner, he buzzes a fastball by you on the inside part of the plate.
Well, now he's going to look at a curveball here, I do believe.
That evens the count, 2-2.
Todd Hundley with a very fine pickup. Now, the Mets as a team have thrown 10 shutouts, and Hundley has caught them all. He is outstanding behind the plate, makes a good pickup here, and saves a base for Davi Cone.
Sandberg has gone 332 games without a wild throw, without an error on a throw. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sandberg waiting at second. high, ball 3. Derek May would be next.
Now, this is many times in the situation with David Cone with first base open. He would drop down sidearm here, and that's mighty tough for a right-hander, especially if it's a breaking ball. David Cone atop of the leaderboard in strikeouts by a wide margin.
High fly ball, going to be caught. And hey, foul ball. Foul ball. Bobby Bonilla dived for the ball, couldn't reach it, and it landed just barely foul.
Well, that's nice to hear. At least the Met fans are applauding the effort by Bonilla, who had a long run for this one. He crosses over into foul territory, makes the dive, but dives in vain. The ball just barely foul. Had the ball stayed fair, there's a good chance Bonilla would have caught it, and it's not foul by much.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Bonilla getting a nice hand again. He's walking around. He's okay. Dawson digging in. Three-two pitch. Fouls it back. A good curveball that time. And he barely got a piece of it. Philadelphia, Montreal, no score in the second. St. Louis and Pittsburgh, no score in the second. Three balls, 2 strikes. The pitch. A high pop foul back. And Dawson is giving him a battle.
This has already been a 9-pitch at bat for Andre Dawson. Most unusual for a man who usually has fairly quick at bats. But David Cone quickly got him in a hole, and Andre Dawson's been battling to stay alive.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Sandberg at second. There goes a drive into left field. It's going to be caught. Boston is there, and he makes the play. Dawson flies out to down Boston. 1 hit, 1 man left on base. No score as we go into the bottom of the first. Chase Stadium, here is the lineup for the Mets. Coleman leads off in center field. Magneton at third. Darrell Boston at left. Eddie Murray at first. Bobby Bonilla in right. Todd Hundley, the catcher. Willie Randolph at second. Dick Schofield playing short. David Cone, the pitcher. And Mountain Dew presents the Cubs defensive alignment with May, Sosa, and Dawson in the outfield. Vizcaino, Sanchez, Sandberg, and Grace on the infield. Wilkins catching, and Morgan pitching. Mike going for his 10th victory of the year. Here's Coleman. Had 4 out of 4 in one game, nothing out of 4 in the second game. There's Bobby Bonilla trying to catch that long drive off the bat of Dawson. And he's limping a little bit as he walked to the dugout at the end of the inning.
Looks like the right rib cage. That's where he's holding, and that's what he talked to the trainer about. He might have scraped himself there, maybe pulled something.
The pitch to Coleman. Ball 2. Coleman, 4 out of 8 last night's doubleheader.
Morgan making his 22nd start of the year, his second against the Mets. 2-3 lifetime against the Mets with a .482 earned run average.
2 balls and the strike. Nice play by Vizcaino. Throws him out. He almost got that hot smash by Jose Vizcaino, was playing him shallow. We got to worry about the button when Coleman's up there.
It's a big advantage for Vince Coleman. Fortunately, he hit this ball off the end of the bat. And it's hit well, but Vizcaino right there. Good quick moves to your left. And that's what a third baseman has to have. He doesn't have to be fast. He just has to be quick to both sides.
Is Dave Magadan, the third baseman, hitting .287. He was hitless in last night's doubleheader, 0 for 7.
It's hard to be better than Morgan has been of late. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 12 of his last 13 starts.
Now the pitch. Curveball in there, a beauty. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Morgan's got a very good sinker, and when he's right, he gets a lot of ground balls. And so the guys in the infield have got to be on their toes. And they like to play behind him because he works quickly, and he does throw the ground balls.
Good strike over the outside corner. Magadan with 3 homers, 27 RBI. Lloyd Boston, or Darryl Boston, follows him. Now the pitch. Line shallow. What a play by Green. A diving glove hand stab of Magadan's line drive. Great play.
We've told you about the magnificence of Mark Grace at first base this year, and it just continues. Game after game, making an outstanding grab of Magadan. He was playing well off the line as Magadan, not known as a pull hitter, diving to his right and coming up with it, robbing him of a sure base hit. And with defense behind him like that, Mike Morgan should be in for a pretty good day.
Darryl Boston, left-hand hitter, used to be with the White Sox. Let's pause quickly for identification.
This is WGN TV Chicago, America's #1 sports station.
The pitch is in the dirt, and that evens the count. Boston has had 6 home runs. Now the pitch, high, drive, deep. Left center field, going to be caught. Derek May back on the warning track. 1, 2, 3. At the end of 1, no score. Dave Gallagher has replaced Bobby Bonilla in right field, so he did hurt his rib cage diving for that foul ball off the bat of Andre Dawson. There he is in the dugout, stripping to the waist. There's a drive in the left center field. It's going to be caught. Darryl Boston is there. Derek May on the first pitch. Flies to Boston.
This is going to be a concern for the Mets because Bobby Bonilla is not a man who likes to leave the lineup. He's played in 102 of the Mets' 104 games. So he's been very durable for them this year. And if he's asking out of the lineup, you've got to believe that he's hurt. And they just put Brett Saberhagen on the disabled list. They could ill afford to lose both of them.
Here's Sammy Sosa hitting .256. 3 out of 8 in last night's doubleheader. Made the most electrifying play of the night. The Mets called for a pitch out as Sammy was trying to steal. The throw was low at second. He continued on to third. While the ball was being retrieved in center field, he even hesitated third. He came on around and scored. Ground ball up the middle. Base hit for Sammy. Sosa drills a single to center.
He hit David Cone the way you really have to hit him. You don't want to get down in the count and let him throw you that curveball. If you can hit a fastball, and David Cone missed with the first fastball, came back with a fastball, and Sammy took it up the middle. His fastball during the daytime is hittable. He does not have a strikeout yet today, and you see the limited range in the Met infield. That time Dick Schofield, very sure-handed, but not much range. The same thing can be said of Willie Randolph at second.
Sandberg had 6 straight hits last night. Sosa's got 4 straight hits against the Mets. The last 3 times up yesterday, and his first time up today. And here's Rick Wilken. Fastball over the outside corner. Relocated Cub fans, Carl and Eileen Markford, are here with their baby Cub fan, Audrey. They're here from Chicago. And they don't want to see the Cubs go to the Western Division. Their note says, Cubs must stay in the Eastern Division. We can't water down our rivalry with those hated Mets. There's a curveball outside.
Sammy's stolen 13 bases in 19 attempts. Now, yesterday he stole easily, but Mackey Sasser was behind the plate. Not saying he can't steal against Hundley, but Hundley is a better thrower and a quicker thrower to second.
1 ball, 1 strike. And Cone steps back off the rubber. Chief Warrant Officer Merle Peterson, the United States Navy, and his 14-year-old son Kyle from Pensacola, Florida, watching the game here today. The throw, we say. Russell from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, among the Cub fans on hand here at Chase Stadium. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wilkins hit his first Major League home run at Chase Stadium last June. A little bit outside. Ball 2. 2 balls and the strike.
Mets opponents have pretty much been running at will on the Mets. They've stolen 96 bases. They've been caught 37 times. Conversely, they've only stolen 62 bases against the Cubs, and this is a very good running situation. But watch the quick move by Cone at first.
There's a throw. Save. That was closer than Sammy Sosa thought it was going to be.
Sammy got back leisurely, and Eddie Murray put the tag on, just missing him at first. A call by Tom Hallion. So if he is going to go, he's got to pay attention to Cone, who's got very quick feet on the mound.
A lead. There he goes. Wild pitch. He's going to wind up at third base. Now he can. Boy, they decoyed him in a sliding in the second. And when he got up, it was too late to go to third.
Well, watch the takeoff by Sosa. It's a pretty good one. But the throw is low and in, and Hundley, setting up for an outside fastball, couldn't get over there to block the pitch. So it goes as stolen base number 14 for Sammy. 70% effectiveness for Sosa, who will get better and better in that department.
Now Wilkins with a count of 3-1. A long drive and a right center field, but Gallagher's there. Here's Sosa tagging up in the dancing. It's up to Vizcaino. Hit his first Major League home run last night.
This could be a big advancement by Sammy Sosa, and the reason is that Cone does have the 8 wild pitches. And if Sosa was not going on the last one, he'd have another one, his 9th. So David Cone throws a lot of pitches in the dirt, both his slider and his fastball on occasion.
2 men out, a runner at third. Vizcaino. Outside, ball 1.
I would think that Cone would be very careful with Vizcaino. Even though he's hitting 199, you still have Mike Morgan up, and he's a right-hand hitter. To throw Vizcaino a fastball here in a hittable spot is not a smart pitch.
Fastball, that's the knees. He split around the butt, and the count is evened up with the ball and the strike. Vizcaino pulled his home run over the 338-foot mark. 5-2.
So
2
far,
balls and a strike.
David Cone has really had problems with his breaking ball. That's one of the reasons why he does not have a strikeout. He hasn't been able to get the curveball over the plate consistently.
2 balls and a strike. Now the count is even up as he fouled one rolling into the Met dugout. Two balls, 2 strikes. Sammy Sosa, the runner at third. Coming down the line. 3 balls, 2 strikes. A little looper in the short center field. It's going to drop for a hit, and the Cubs lead 1-0. Vizcaino looped a single in the short center. Nobody had a chance to reach that one.
And that's how good pitchers lose ball games. Throwing to 8 hitters with a pitcher due up and a man in scoring position. If Vizcaino doesn't hit this ball hard, it's a curveball, but he gets enough of it to drop it in front of Vince Coleman. Coleman playing a fairly deep center field for Vizcaino, and he's got no chance to get it as it goes as run batted in number 10.
Morgan swings and misses. Well, what do managers get paid for, Steve? Why is it the pitcher's responsibility? If the manager wants him to walk him, he would just say, put him on.
Well, you don't walk him here. You just don't throw him anything good, even 3 and 2.
There's the drive in the right field, going to be caught by Gallagher. The ball was well hit by Morgan. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. We go in the bottom of the second. The Cubs are in the lead, 1-0. Harry Carey back at the ballpark. And here's Eddie Murray leading it off. They probably said to Mike Morgan, there's your 1 run. Now go out there and hold it. At any rate, the Cubs have scored. And so far, the Mets have not.
Eddie Murray had a tough day yesterday. 0 for 7 in a doubleheader. And the big 3 in the middle were just 1 for 20 for the Mets.
Swings and he fouls it back.
Now 2 of the big 3 are missing. Bobby Bonilla left early. Dave Gallagher on deck. Bonilla hurt his rib cage. Howard Johnson given the day off. So the big 3 yesterday at 1 for 20, and yet the Mets still split the doubleheader.
Now the delivery, here it is. Can we think of something else to say besides the rib cage? I immediately think of a bird chirping away in the cage.
Well, I think it's chirping at Bobby Bonilla right now as we speak.
Now ball. Grace has got it. Gives to Morgan. Easy out. Boy, Grace makes that play as great as any first baseman I've ever seen. He times the pitcher perfectly. Makes sure he gives him the ball so he's got a chance to look for the bag.
And the key to the play here is the good solid toss. He doesn't loop it too many times. He gives him a good authoritative toss. That gives the pitcher time to get the ball, concentrate on that first, and then touch the inside of the bag. But with Murray going down the line, there was no hurry that time.
Dave Gallagher, the hitter, batting .211 for the year with 1 homer, 12 RBIs. He too, like Boston used to be with the White Sox, and there's a hot shot. Whoa! Fumble by Sandberg. The ball was really hit hard, but that may be an error.
I think it's going to be an error, and I think the errorless streak is going to go by the boards. It's a 2-hopper. And you see it come up and just bite him, and there's the error and the errorless streak by the boards for Sandberg, and it stops at 60 games. At least he's had his third of 60 or more.
The ball was really hit hard. It seemed like he couldn't get his hands up in time.
Harry, I was talking with Dick Schofield about this infield here, and he says that it's not a very good infield at all because the surface dirt is too loose. He says that causes the ball to take some funny hops and skip many times, and he said without a good base on this infield, it makes it very difficult to field ground balls.
That's Sandberg's 4th error of the year. We're in the 103rd game. 59 to go after this one. Todd Hundley batting .202 with 7 homers. He's 1 out of 3.
Hundley has been a dead pull hitter, and that's one of the reasons why that batting average is just a little above 200. Tom McCraw, the hitting instructor, is trying to get him to go to left and left center field, but he's had a hard time doing it.
Ball 2 outside. Hundley 76 games. Swung and he missed. 2 balls and the strike, 1 out, 1 on.
It's hard to believe that Todd Hundley, with 7 home runs, is tied with Howard Johnson. Howard is having a down year, and Hundley is showing that he does have some power.
Switch hitter. There goes a runner, base hit in the center field. And here's Sosa's throw, got a chance. Save! Runners are on first and third. And Gallagher just beat Sosa's bullet-like throw.
With Gallagher going, Hundley takes it right back through the middle. It's a high fastball out away from him. Sosa charges this ball aggressively, gets off a very good throw, and Vizcaino tries to put the tag on but doesn't get him. Bill Cousy on the call at third, and the best part of this play was the fact that Hundley had to stay at first, keeping the double play in order.
And Willie Randolph has hit in his 6th double play. That's a tying run at third.
Willie Randolph is an exceptional bunter, and that's something that you have to take into consideration right here.
Now the stretch. A little bit outside, ball 1. Dick Schofield, the shortstop, would be next. This is the section of the batting order that caused all the trouble in the first game of the doubleheader last night when the Mets won 3-0.
Now, in previous games, when Morgan needed the ground ball to get the double play, he's been able to throw it. So with a good sinker, that's what you're looking to throw here.
1 ball, no strike. Guy called a fastball. Willie Randolph taking a look at Mike Cubbage, coaching at third. Barry Foote working first base. 1 ball, 1 strike. Throw to first. Infield playing back. The outfield squared around towards center, giving them both lines. Willie Randolph hitting .254 with 2 homers. The pitch, a little bit outside. 2 balls and a strike.
Hundley is trying to steal a couple bases this year, and he's 2 for 2 in that department.
Two balls and a strike. Important pitch. Ball 3. And Randolph in a good hitter spot. He can pick on the pitch if he likes it, otherwise take it.
Now, Willie Randolph usually makes contact, and let's see what Jeff Torborg has in mind to try to stay out of the double play. He's shown in this series that he will use a lot of unusual hit and runs. Let's see if he's sending Hundley here.
3-1 the pitch. Ball 4. The bases are loaded. This inning started with Murray bouncing out. Gallagher hit the ball hard and was safe on Sandberg's error. With a hit run on, Hundley drilled a single to center. Gallagher barely beating Sammy Sosa's great throw.
You saw in the dugout, positioning of the defense, they want Sosa around toward left center field, just a few steps on the other side of the second base bag. You see Jose Martinez right there. He's got all the defensive charts, and he's got everybody squared up where he wants them now. Schofield's hit into 7 double plays, and Morgan needs the 8th.
Boy, the outfield playing very shallow. Schofield with 3 home runs. Double play ball, maybe. There's a 2. Save the tie-run score. Schofield forced Randolph, just barely beating Sanchez's throw.
The farther you are away from the bag, the more difficult it is for this backhand flip by Sandberg. And although he tries to get a lot on it, he can't get quite enough as the ball is hit slowly. Sanchez across the bag, but he can't get it there in time as Schofield drives in a run, his 23rd, as he beats the play at first by a half step.
So it's an unearned run, of course. Here now is Cone, a good hitting pitcher. Swings and he misses. Cone is hitting .091, or no, .093, five hits. Good save in there by Wilkins. So the game is all tied up, 1-1.
Wilkins has gotten better and better at that, and he saved Mike Morgan his 8th wild pitch. The farther away from the plate that ball bounces, especially with any spin on it, the more difficult it is to block. And that one was about 2 feet in front of the plate.
1 ball, 1 strike. Now he's behind. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Game tied up. Sanchez will start it off in the top of the 3rd. St. Louis and Pittsburgh, no score in the 4th. Philadelphia, Montreal, no score in the 4th. Houston at Cincinnati, no score in the 1st.
8th place hitters have the 2 runs batted in, 1 for each team.
The pitch to Cone. Struck him out. 1 run. 1 hit, 1 error, 1 left. At the end of 2, the game is tied at 1. Harry Carey and Steve Stone. And naturally, we have a good hat shot for you as we go into the top of the 3rd. All tied up at 1, and Sanchez will lead it off for the Cubs. An unearned run, but they all count. Sanchez flat out his first time up. Curve strike. You know that Schofield was very prominent in that first game last night. He batted in the run and scored 2. And he's batted in their only run today. 1 ball, 1 strike. Swung and he missed on the curveball.
This is not going to be good news for the Cubs because David Cone did not get the curveball over at all the first 2 innings, but he's gotten a couple of dandies over to Sanchez here, and if he gets the rhythm with that, he's going to be much tougher to hit.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Held up in time. 2-2. Top of the 3rd. Struck him out with a fastball.
Cub fans, subscribe to Vineline, the official newspaper of the Cubs, and get a limited edition collector's print of the 28 greatest Cub players of all time. For more subscription information, call 312-404-CUBS. That's 312-404-CUBS.
Sanchez becomes Cone's first strikeout victim. That gives him 187 strikeouts for the year. Here's Sandberg. Curveball. Tried to check. He went around. 1 strike to nothing. Sandberg singled his first time up. That evens it up, a ball and a strike. Sandberg has had 7 hits in the series, which is in its 3rd game. Oh, he had to cut it a fastball, but he misses.
That'll be the difference for David Cone. When he gets the curveball over, his fastball just looks better because you have to respect the curve. He didn't have to respect it the first 2 innings, and the Cubs were able to hit his fastball.
1 ball, 2 strikes. We're in the 3rd. the play. Fastball.
David Cone, like Greg Maddux, a free agent at the end of the year, and the Mets have said their #1 priority is to sign David Cone. So far, no progress to announce in the negotiations.
1 ball, 2 strikes. There's a drive, if it'll stay fair. Foul ball. He hit that ball very hard, but foul.
David Cone made a mistake with a fastball. Kind of surprising on 1 and 2 why he would go to that. I got to believe that Rhino is going to look at a curveball here, especially after hitting that one as hard as he did on the left field line.
1 out, nobody on. There's a high drive. Deep right center field, should be caught. And it is by Gallagher at the warning track. Sandberg gave that ball a long ride, but out.
Once again, David Cone went to the fastball, but he dropped down sidearm this time, and that's where he'll get hurt. I don't think the Mets like him to drop down too much. Sandberg hit that ball very hard, but hit it the opposite way.
Here's Mark Grace. 3 out of 9 in the series. Fastball outside. David Cone, 6'1", 190 pounds. 29 years old. A bullet. And the count is evened up.
David Cone has used 51 pitches, but he threw a game earlier this year where he threw 167 pitches. So don't worry about his durability.
There goes a drive, deep right field, going back. Gallagher way back, way back. He can't reach the ball. Here goes Grace. Around the second base with a double.
Double number 24 for Mark Grace. Gallagher was fooled by this ball. He didn't think it would go as far as it did. It's a curveball, and Grace hits it right on the button. Gallagher gets a slow start, tries to backpedal, then realizes it'll have to be an over-the-shoulder catch if it's anything. He gets to the ball quickly after missing it and holds Grace at second base.
And here is Andre Dawson. He battled Cone in the first, finally flew out. Outfield deep, straight away. Swung at the curve, and he missed. 1 strike and nothing. The Cubs with 4 hits. The Mets have had 1. Each team has had 1 run. Each team has had 1 error. The Cubs have 4 hits. The Mets have 1. Boy, another curveball. And he really made them look bad on that.
Here's some bad news for the Mets. Bobby Bonilla has a non-displaced fracture of the 9th rib, and he'll be out a minimum 2 weeks.
When it rains and pours, I guess. No balls, 2 strikes. Outside, they appeal. And the first base umpire, Tom Haggett, says no, he did not swing. I think Hundley was practicing an Academy Award act to influence the umpire.
He wants to get David Cone out of this inning.
Two and two. Another curveball. He's thrown 4 in a row.
They're going to come around. I just talked to Jay Horowitz, who's the media relations director of the Mets, and give us an update on Dwight Gooden and how he threw before the game today. He faced hitters for the first time.
Ball 3. Bonilla will go on the 15-day disabled list effective today. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Easy out. Line drive right to the second baseman Randolph. And the Cubs strand another runner. We go in the bottom of the third, 1-1 tie.
Cub fans join Ryan Sandberg, Mark Grace, Harry Carey, and a host of players and coaches at the 1993 Cubs convention. Make your room reservations today for the greatest off-season event in all of baseball by calling the Chicago Hilton and Towers at 312-922-4400.
Harry Carey with Steve Stone. Tom Brennan will be with us at the end of this half inning. Here's Vince Coleman to lead it off. Strike call, the fastball.
Coleman with 6 infield hits this year, only 3 of them bunt hits, and that's most surprising for him because he loves to bunt. And you can tell by Vizcaino that the Cubs are trying to take it away from him.
Fouls it back, 0-2. He's in the hole. The Yankees are leading Toronto 3-1 in the third. Baltimore at Boston, no score in the fourth. Milwaukee and Minnesota, no score in the second. Seattle at Chicago, no score at the end of one. A little bit outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The rubber game of the series. Mike Morgan against Davi Cone. Foul ball outside third. He reached outside for a curveball and almost bounced it over the bag. Nice crowd on hand, around 35,000 or thereabouts. A beautiful day for baseball here in the Big Apple. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A bit high. 2-2. Tomorrow night will be televising from Montreal starting at 6:30 Chicago time. Struck him out. Coleman called out on strike. That's the second strikeout for Morgan, who has 1 more than Cohen.
I think Vince Coleman had to be looking curveball there, and Morgan surprised him with a fastball over the outside corner. Coleman really didn't react very well. In fact, he doesn't react at all. The ball's right down the middle. And Ed Montague says you're out. No complaints from Coleman.
There's Magadan, who was robbed by Mark Grace on a super catch in the first inning. Strike called. 0-1 the count. 1 out. Game tied. 1-1. Ball in there, a beauty. Strike 2. Derek May will lead it off for the Cubs in the fourth. They'll have May, Sosa, and Wilkins coming up. A curveball outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Morgan's pitch. Low, 2-2.
Jeff Torberg on the phone, and he's probably talking with the bullpen about who he would like to be the first out of the chute today. Pitcher likes to know if he's going to be first up, and that probably involves the middle or long relievers.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch to Magadan. Ground ball, short. Through shortstop, a base hit. Magadan grounded a single to left.
Left fielder down Boston.
Sanchez was leaning to his left as that ball was hit. It happened to be hit to his right. I doubt if he could have made a play anyway.
You usually don't have to worry about Magadan running. He's only stolen 1 base this year in 1 attempt. But they might use the hit and run to try to stay out of the double play. Boston has grounded into 4 of them in limited play.
There's a high fly ball. Sosa backing up under the ball, makes the catch. And there's 2 away, and here's Eddie Murray, who's been held in check. 0 for 8 in the series.
A lot more pressure now on Eddie Murray than there's been all year long. He's been the big RBI man for the Mets, but now with Bonilla lost to the disabled list and Howard Johnson not hitting anything, the pressure really falls to Eddie Murray. And these Mets have had a whole lot of trouble scoring runs with the big 3 healthy. Now it's going to be even tougher with Bonilla out for an extended period.
Eddie Murray to pitch. Outside, ball 1. Murray, 9 home runs, 63 RBI. Hitting .250. Fastball outside. Dave Gallagher will be next. He started their scoring inning with a hot smash. It was fumbled by Sander, and he later scored. Hundley singled, Randolph walked, and Schofield batted in the run. 2 balls and a strike.
That shows you Morgan, the veteran pitcher that he is, knew that Eddie Murray would be looking fastball all the way, and Morgan had the confidence to throw him a curveball 2-0, and he threw a dandy.
2 balls and a strike, 2 out. There it goes. No doubt about it. It might be out of here. And it is. Holy cow. Did he ever hit that ball? And it's a 3-1 lead for the Mets.
Home run number 10, runs batted in, 64-65. And Murray got the fastball he was looking for 2-0, but he got it 2-1. Morgan usually keeps that fastball down, but this one was up where Eddie Murray could take a good swing at it, and he hit it off the lower part of the scoreboard. This is a blast. Watch it again. Morgan getting it up. That one a little above the belt, and Eddie Murray taking it way back. So for Morgan, that's the 7th he's given up this year.
Here's Gallagher. Fastball high. Murray now with 10 homers, 65 RBI. And that was his first hit of the series. There's a looping fly ball foul down the right field corner. A fan makes the catch. He brought his glove along just for that opportunity, and he put it to good use. Murray had been 0 for 8 until he connected. Now the pitch to Gallagher, swung and he missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out, 3-1 in favor of the Mets. And with Dave Cone pitching, that's a big, big blow. Ground ball, sharply hit. Followed by Vizcaino to throw. No throw. On air on Vizcaino.
Nobody can field anything that Gallagher's hitting today. And we talked about this soft dirt in the infield. It makes it very difficult on hops. And Jose Vizcaino picks up air number 7. This one bounding away. Both airs made on ground balls off the bat of Dave Gallagher.
With that home run, Eddie Murray went ahead of Duke Snider with his 408th career home run. Here's Hundley now with a runner at first. 2 out, 2 in. Now the stretch, the pitch, a little bit outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Hundley hitting .206 with 7 home runs. Ball inside and low, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Ball low, ball 3. And Willie Randolph would be next. That home run. That's given the Mets a lead. There's the strike call.
He's got to be careful if he goes to a fastball here to Hundley, because he has home run power.
It was a Mets 57th home run of the year. Quick throw, the runner back. The Cubs have 65. The Mets now 57. Swung and he missed. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 in. 3-1 Mets. Gallagher will go. There he goes. Swung on and fouled into the stand on the first base side. Murray's 10th home run of the year. Boy, he really creamed it. Ball 4. He walked him. That's a second walk given up by Morgan. And here's Willie Randolph, who drew the other one. In the 5th at Pittsburgh, the Cardinals and the Pirates, no score. In the 5th at Montreal, the Phillies and the Expos, no score. There's a curve strike call. The Yankees lead Toronto 3-2 in the 4th. Baltimore and Boston in the 5th, no score. Cleveland over Detroit 2-1 in the 5th. There's a drive in the left field, but Derek May is there to retire the side. 2 runs on 2 hits and 2 men left, 1 error. Carry from Shea Stadium. We're at the end of 5, the end of 3, the score, the Mets 3 and the Cubs 1.
Hi again, everybody, along with our producer director Arnie Harris and Steve Stone. Tom Brenneman back on a beautiful day in New York. Unfortunately, the Cubs down 3-1 thanks to an Eddie Murray 2-run home run.
Well, now with the lineup the way it is, Eddie Murray has a lot more pressure on him, and he responds to pressure. He's an RBI machine. That's what Tom McCraw, the hitting instructor, says about him, Tom, and he's got the big runs batted in throughout his entire career.
Well, the all-time leading RBI man among switch hitters to play in the history of baseball, and yes, indeed, he has more than did the great Mickey Mantle in his days with the Yanks. Base hit for Derek May to begin the Cubs' 4th inning, trailing by 2.
Cal Daniels could not get his knee loosened up before the game today, and that meant Derek May was getting his start. Now, when Derek May has had 4 at-bats during the course of a game over the last few months, he's looked like he's starting to get the stroke down. He looks like he's got a chance to be a pretty decent hitter. I don't know if he's ever going to hit for a whole lot of power, but I think he will be a good hitter one day in the major leagues.
Sammy Sosa singled, stole a base, scored the only Cub run when Vizcaíno knocked him in. A 2-out single to center in the 2nd. Good breaking ball from David Cone. Cone will not get a shutout today, but he has tossed 5 of them this season. 7 complete games. Major League's leading strikeout pitcher with 187, with a 1 included today of Sanchez in the 3rd. Name is littered all over the National League pitching leaders categories.
You talk to any of the hitters in the league and they will tell you that David Cone has about the best stuff around.
Did Sammy go around? They appeal to first, and no, says Tom Alliott.
Despite having probably the best stuff in the National League, David Cone has been stuck on 14 the last 3 seasons. 14-8, 14-10, 14-14 last year, but he should fly by that this year. And that with a ball club that's not real tough.
1-2 to Sammy. Cone again threw him that hook. Well, I guess the one thing, and it's hard to knock a pitcher who during his entire major league career has racked up 79 wins against 45 losses, but Stoney, I think the last 4 or 5 years we've had a chance to see him enough to realize is there are mistakes he'll make in crucial parts of the game which would lead to a 14-14 record, despite the kind of stuff that he'll throw at you just about every start.
Well, there's no doubt, Tom, after the 20-3 year, he hasn't been the same pitcher consistently, but he has the type of ability to have those kind of years. 12-4 this year for a team that's really struggled most of the season with the New York Mets. You know, they don't score any runs, and so a lot of pressure on David Cone every time out, just like Greg Maddux. And yet he's still 8 over 500.
Long drive, deep left field. If it's fair, it's gone. It hooks foul. Sosa almost tied this game up with one crack of the bat.
Well, Tommy, there's the mistake you were talking about. It looked like a high breaking ball, and Sammy Sosa took advantage of it. Unfortunately, he got out a little too quickly. We'll watch it again. It's the curveball, but it stays flat as Cone drops his arm, and this one comes spinning, saying, "Hit me." Sammy does just that, but it just curves at the last instant.
Cone lucky to get away with that one, and don't think he doesn't know it.
If he goes to the curveball here, you can bet he's going to stay over the top and keep it low and away.
Hit hard into left center field, but Boston there. Made back to the bag, 1 out.
The catcher, Rick Wilkins.
Well, big news in case you weren't with us earlier on. Bobby Bonilla back in the first inning. Attempted to make a diving grab and foul ground off the bat of Andre Dawson. He was lifted from the game when New York took the field defensively in the second. And word is he has a broken rib and has been immediately placed on the 15-day disabled list. These Mets are having a tough enough time scoring runs. You take Bonilla's bat out of the lineup, they're in trouble.
Well, they talk about a minimum of 2 weeks, Tom, and it's hard to believe that after just 2 weeks he can heal a broken rib. When you consider all the twisting and turning that a hitter has got to do, and the fact that Bonilla does swing from both sides, is going to be maybe a little more difficult for him because he is a big man.
1-0 to Rick Wilkins. He lined hard to Dave Gallagher back in the second, his only trip in the game. Mets are in front 3-1 on Eddie Murray's 2-run home run off Mike Morgan in the Mets third.
Ball seems to travel here in Shea Stadium very well if you hit it to right or right center field. And that's what Wilkins is going to be trying to do. Take a look around. It's 338 down the lines, 358 almost a straightaway left and right, 371 in the power alleys, and 410 to a very spacious center field fence.
Cone delivers and Wilkins fouls her off. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the Cubs trying to win 2 out of 3 in this series. And then following today's game, they travel to Montreal to begin a 3-game set tomorrow night. We invite you to tune in. It'll be Frank Castillo against Dennis Martinez. And as you see, we'll be on the air at 6:30 Central Time. Be on again Tuesday night. And then back at you Thursday when the Cubs begin a season-high 11-game homestand. 4 against the Mets in that series beginning Thursday. 3 against the Expos and 4 against Houston.
The Cubs have played Montreal only 6 times this year. That means 12 left, and they're going to see a vastly improved Montreal crew when they get to Montreal. Cubs so far 4 out of 6 in the win column, sweeping Montreal at home and losing 2 out of 3 in Montreal.
Strike 3 called to Wilkins, second of the game for the Met right-hander.
One thing about David Cone, unlike most starters in this league, is he might be rocky in the early innings, but he gets stronger. And a lot of guys you'll see will start out striking a lot of guys in the early innings. If David Cone does that, then he'll probably get 15, because he will strike out more men as the game goes along. One of the few pitchers that can do that consistently. And we talked about the game earlier this year where he threw 167 pitches. Even Dwight Gooden, who had a very strong arm before he hurt himself, said the highest he'd ever gone would be 150. And he had to hand it to David Cone. What a performance that was.
Vizcaíno fouls it away. And when you talk about a pitcher getting stronger, Stoney, that brings back to mind memories of April 22nd, 1970. A Mets 2-1 win over San Diego. Tom Seaver, 19 strikeouts in the game, including the last 10 batters he faced. 10 in a row to end the game. And of course today, New York fans paying homage to Tom Seaver, who will be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Throw to second, out at second base. Hundley guns down Derek May, which ends the Cubs fourth. One hit, none left. After 3.5, Mets leading the Cubs 3-1. Before we begin the bottom half of the fourth inning at Shea, let's step out for a station ID on the Cubs television network.
This is WGN TV Chicago, America's #1 sports station.
Dick Schofield lays down a perfect bunt, and he'll beat it out for an infield single to begin the Mets fourth. New York already in front of the Cubs and Mike Morgan 3-1.
Schofield has been a thorn in the side of the Cubs all series. Despite the fact that he's hitting just 206 coming into this one, he drove in the first Met run, and now he lays down a perfect bunt. Vizcaíno had one chance. That was slim at best, and he couldn't make the bare hand pickup. Now the stage set for the sacrifice from David Cone.
Cone has been outstanding in this area. 7 sacrifice bunts on the year. This one may be a little too hard. Grace going to second. They'll get one and not turn the double play.
Very good play by Mark Grace, who had no hesitation. He knew he had some time as the ball is bunted hard. I think what Cone tried to do was push it by Grace. He didn't want to bunt it down first. He wanted to get it between Morgan and Grace, and it doesn't work. Sanchez on the return throw, but he can't get it there in time, and Sandberg saves him an errant throw.
Vince Coleman 0 for his last 6 after going 4 for 4 in the first game of the Twinville last night.
Every time he goes into a slump, you can pretty much bet that he's going to at least show bunt. And that's been his history. And if he can get it up the first base side, he's got a good shot at it. Vizcaíno very close at third.
Morgan is fan 2, walk 2. He's given New York 3 runs on 4 base hits. Two 2-0 to Vince Coleman. Dave Magadan waits on deck. Cubs scored first in the top of the second inning. The Mets tied it in the latter part of that frame, and then an Eddie Murray 2-run third inning home run has been the difference thus far. Sandberg to Sanchez on the first, and they double up Coleman, which ends the inning. 1 hit, none left. We roll to the 5th. Mets 3, Cubs 1. Tom Brenneman back with Steve Stone at Shea Stadium. We played 4, and the Mets are in front by 2, 3-1 on Eddie Murray's 2-run game-breaking homer in the 3rd inning.
For the first time this year, Vince Coleman grounds into a double play. It goes 4-6-3, and Carex happily donates $100 to Cubs Care, and this was a snappy one.
Liner to right field by Vizcaíno, and he is aboard to begin the 5th. So Jose getting the start in place of the injured Steve Buechele has 2 hits and 2 at-bats with an RBI.
This will give Morgan an opportunity now to lay one down, and he hopes to have better luck than David Cone. He's got 5, and he wants to keep it away from Magadan at third, who is very close.
There is the bunt. It'll get the job done. Cone firing on to Randolph. Vizcaíno to second. 1 down in the inning.
Ernie Question's question today comes from 8-year-old Shelby Justice. That's from Decatur, Illinois. She wants to know, how do ball players get their numbers? Well, it's very easy on the Cubs. You come to the ball club. If you don't specify a number, then Yosh Kawano, the venerable clubhouse man, gives you one. If you don't like it, then you don't wear the uniform. Yosh decides what number you're going to wear unless you have a specific request, and nobody is wearing that particular number. So thank you, Shelby. 8 years old from Decatur, Illinois. And there's the address. Any questions for kids' sake? WGN TV, 2501 Bradley Place, Chicago, Illinois, 60618.
Here's Ray Sanchez. He has flied to right and struck out in 2 at-bats against David Cone. 3-1 New York. We're in the 5th. Popped up. Randolph and Coleman. And Coleman will call him off at the last instant and make the play.
Don't forget, kids, throughout the season, the Cubs Vineline newspaper staff will select and ask any questions question of the week. The youngster who submits the winning question will receive a free 1-year subscription to Vineline.
Pirates and Cardinals, no score in the bottom of the 6th at Three Rivers. Same story in Montreal between the Phils and Expos. That game in the top of the 6th. Reds and Astros scoreless in the bottom of the 3rd at Riverfront.
Sandberg is swinging the bat well enough now where if David Cone were to hang that curveball, you could expect a tie game, and that's what he's looking for.
Good breaking ball right there.
Well, he didn't hang that one. That one disappeared low and away, and if he keeps it there, he's not going to have any trouble at all.
Cone is fan 2. He has allowed 6 base hits. Cubs are getting plenty of those, but only 1 run. Popped up. Hundley will come over and give it a look, but it's about a dozen rows back. 0-2 now to Sandberg.
Tommy, do you think that start last night by Jeff Robinson might earn him another one somewhere down the line?
Well, he understands, Tony. He is supposed to start Wednesday night at Montreal, but I mean, you're asking a fella to come back on 3 days rest if he does indeed start that game. I'd be very surprised. I mean, somebody's going to have to do it because of the rain out.
Well, there's no doubt the Cubs in a bind. And if they look to Jeff Robinson, let's hope he comes back with a little something.
He was something last night. Sandberg, a base hit into left field. Coming around is Vizcaíno. He will score, and the lead is down to 1 as Sandberg gets his 2nd hit of the game, his 55th run batted in on the year.
Bear in mind something about Ryne Sandberg. He's one of the few right-hand hitters that consistently hits this guy. This is a curveball, but Cone gets it up. Even though it's out away from Sandberg, he's able to pull it. And the Cubs pull within 1. So a good piece of hitting by Ryne Sandberg against one of the toughest right-handers in baseball.
Mark Grace fly to left and double to right center in the 3rd inning. And he takes a strike from David Cone. Well, Stoney, the team has very few, if any, days off over the next couple of weeks.
So options really limited as to what you want to do. They were toying with the idea of starting Bullinger. That's still a possibility.
1-1 to Grace.
And Tom, the Cubs aren't the only team around the league that are having a lot of difficulty filling that number 5 starting spot, especially as you go along during the season. Mike Bilecki lost to Atlanta for the season. They've got a problem at number 5. Pittsburgh, a tremendous amount of problems at number 5, and the Cubs right along with them. And you saw the Mets having to start Wally Whitehurst despite a 1-5 record. They're also having problems at number 5. Now with Brett Saberhagen very doubtful, he'll have an MRI tomorrow. So they're very concerned about that finger. He looks very iffy, and Dwight Gooden is still not active.
Hit hard, but at Willie Randolph. He'll go to his left and throw out Grace to Murray. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 5th at Shea. A good one. Mets 3, Cubs 2. Game after 4.5 from Shea Stadium. The series finale at a 3-game set. It serves as the rubber game as well. The Mets won the first of 2 last night, 3-0. Cubs bouncing back to win the nightcap 6-1. Magadan, Boston, Murray against Mike Morgan in the 5th.
Magadan, the subject of a lot of trade rumors, but the mythical trading deadline came and went without anybody in the National League doing anything substantial. So Magadan remains a Met.
Magadan, his first hit in the series, his last time up in the 3rd. He was aboard when Murray played long ball. And he didn't like that call by Ed Montague. 0-2 to Magadan. Morgan has walked 2, fanned 2, given New York 3 runs on 4 base hits.
Bright sunny day today, a little humidity here in New York. The Mets have had the tarp on the field this year, Tommy, 30 times. Give you an idea how much rain they've had here. 30 different times the ground crew has gone to cover the field.
And a rare big crowd on hand here at Shea today, although last night's numbers were not all that bad, 36,207. But as we heard from General Manager Al Harrison during the rain delay on Friday night, attendance far under the pace set last year and even further behind that of 1990.
Well, they're down here in New York. About 8,000 fans per game. The appeal to Phil Cousy at 3rd, and he says no. Magadan checked his swing. So Morgan will have to make a tough 3-2 pitch.
If I'm not mistaken, there are only about 3 or 4 teams in the entire National League ahead of last year's pace in attendance. Magadan through the hole in the right field, his 2nd hit of the game. And just off the top of my head, I think they're the Cubs, who are a little ahead, I think. Not much.
Well, I know that Harrison said 19 teams in all of baseball are down under what they drew last year. And that is cause for concern among all the owners in baseball.
Atlanta well up, as you would expect. Cincinnati a little bit up.
Montreal has got to be well up over last year when they drew very few people. So there's a few, but when you can sit and name them, you know that there's a lot of clubs hurting.
Boston is fly to left, fly to center. And he looks at strike 1. Boston starting in place of the slumping Howard Johnson today. Johnson did play both ends of the twin bill last night, and he was originally in the starting lineup today.
Well, I think that we will probably see Howard Johnson before the day is over. Even though he is slumping at 223, he still is a home run threat. Boston with a long look down at Mike Cubbage, the 3rd base coach. Barry Foote, the 1st base coach.
1-2 to Boston. Dave Magadan has only attempted 1 stolen base all year, and he was successful.
Tom McCraw talking about Darryl Boston, saying that he has a tendency to drop his back shoulder as his first move, and then you have to swing up if you do that. And that's why he hits a lot of fly balls. I'd like him to try to swing down on the ball, but you can't do it if your first move is up after a dropped shoulder.
Boston has a little brother. I say a little brother. He's 6 feet 8 inches tall, playing in the Toronto organization. An outstanding young prospect. He's in the New York Penn League, just only 19 years young. 1-2 to Boston with Eddie Murray waiting on deck.
Vince Coleman on the shelf a great deal of this year. Darryl Boston has gotten more play than he expected. This is his 82nd game. And this was a man penciled in perhaps for the 4th or 5th outfielder at best this year. But he's gotten a lot of play. He does have some power with 6 home runs.
1-2 to Boston. Magadan at first base, and the pitch is high. Boston's idol growing up, Dave Parker. They grew up in the same neighborhood. Parker, of course, considerably older than Darryl Boston. Off the end of the bat, Morgan going to look to second base. Sandberg getting there ahead of Magadan by about a step.
Sandberg was late getting to the bag, and I don't know if there was a lack of communication, but Morgan did what he thought he had to do, throw the ball over the bag and see who got there. Now, a pitcher should know who's covering. And you see right here, Sandberg very late to get to the bag at second. And the Cubs will have to have better communication than this as Boston squibs it off the end of the bat. And perhaps, Tommy, the call would have been back to the pitcher, would have been Sanchez to cover the bag on that play, but Sanchez was going for the ball. He thought it would get by Morgan. So that was the best the Cubs had available, and it did cut down the lead runner.
Great throw by Morgan. That's not an easy play to make where Sandberg was coming from.
Well, you can't judge it. You don't know when Sandberg's going to get there, so you throw over the bag and hope he gets there in time, and he did.
Eddie Murray, a 2-run home run to break what was a 1-1 tie into a 3-1 New York lead in the 3rd.
Well, we ran out of luck, Tom. The wind has changed, and the plane's now taking off right over Shea Stadium.
Well, 2.5 games of not having it. We're doing all right.
Morgan has made 76 pitches, and we're not through the 5th inning. So the pitches piling up for Mike Morgan.
There goes a runner. Taken. Throw to second base by Wilkins, and they did not get him.
Darryl Boston steals his 7th, and that was not the good Wilkins throw. I don't think he got a good grip on this ball. He still got it down there, but it wasn't as good as he's thrown in the past. The throw is high. Boston slides in under the Sandberg tag, and the call by Mike Winters. So another RBI situation for Eddie Murray.
In the dirt, the runner trying for third. He'll make it. Wild pitch by Mike Morgan, and now all of a sudden Boston has gone first to third on 2 pitches, a steal and now a wild one.
That's wild pitch number 8 for Morgan, as Wilkins did his best to try to block it. But the pitch just skips by him. Eddie Murray doing a little coaching from the batter's box. And this is when Murray looks for something he can hit in the air. The infield in at all 4 positions.
3-1 to Murray with Dave Gallagher waiting on deck.
Let's watch the 2-1 fastball. A rare high fastball from Mike Morgan, and Murray knew just what to do with that.
Infield in. 3-1 to Murray. He took it for a strike. Good offering that time by Morgan on a 3-1 count.
Having Eddie as a teammate with Baltimore, he told me that he doesn't want to swing at anything off speed as far as the curveball is concerned until he absolutely has to. Well, if he throws him another one, he's got to here.
Down the left field line, but foul.
Morgan keeps trying to get the fastball by him. And Eddie Murray doesn't have the most runs batted in by any switch hitter in the history of this game because he misses fastballs in this situation.
Infield in. The Mets already leading 3-2. Boston at third and 1 out. Wilkins hanging a sign and Morgan going to work. He walked it. 3rd of the game issued by the Cubs right-hander. Really not a bad walk.
I think it's a pretty good walk. Because now they can get Gallagher, who's hit the ball on the ground twice, to perhaps ground into the double play. But the problem with hitting the ball on the ground twice is nobody's been able to field it yet. Sandberg booted one of his in the second, and a 60-game errorless streak, and Vizcaino made his 7th error in the third on a ground ball, both off the bat of Gallagher.
That's why you get worried when he's in this situation. Luck might be on his side today. Runners on the corners.
He's got 4 sacrifice flies this year, and that's most unusual for a man with just 92 at bats. As you can see, he's grounded into 7 double plays. Morgan hoping for number 8.
Boston at third, Murray at first. 1 out in the New York 5th. Gallagher has scored one of the 2 Mets runs today. Well, you know, those planes really are part of the great attraction about coming to a game at Shea Stadium. Into center field. This will be plenty deep enough to get in Boston from third base. Sosa has it. Murray about halfway between first and second. Scoring is Boston. Gallagher with a RBI, and he's given the Mets a 2-run lead for the second time in the game. 4-2 New York.
Good piece of hitting by Dave Gallagher, who had hit the ball on the ground twice, his 5th sacrifice fly of the year. And that's a very high total for a man with 93 at bats now. Give an idea, Todd Hundley with 210 at bats also has 5 sacrifice flies.
Hundley, a good day thus far. Single to center in the second, getting Gallagher on to third with a hit and run. He eventually scored, and then Hundley walked in the 3rd inning. Montreal has taken a 1-0 lead in the 8th inning over Philadelphia. And the Reds a 1-0 lead over Houston in the 5th.
Even when Eddie Murray came up, he didn't have great speed, but he would steal an occasional base. But those days pretty much by the boards, as he's 0 for 1 in the stolen base department.
Hundley, good power in that bat. 7 home runs. 3 balls and a strike.
And he came up under Earl Weaver, who many times would rather be poked in the eye with a sharp stick than steal a base. He just sat back and waited for the 3-run homer.
Yeah. Hundley chops away the 3-1 offering for Morgan, and the count goes to full. Well, we mentioned Tom Seaver earlier on. I'd like to send out congratulations to all those inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame today. 2 big stars, of course, being Seaver and Raleigh Finger. Playable for Grace down the line. The inning is over. New York adds a run. 1 hit, 1 left. We head for the 6th. The Mets leading 4-2. Later today on Channel 9, 2 New York City cops are hot on the trail of a pair of deadly terrorists. Sylvester Stallone and Billy D. Williams star in Nighthawks today at 5 on Chicago's very own Channel 9.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Chicago National League Ball Club, which has the right of approval of the announcers and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Chicago National League Ball Club is prohibited.
Back with our producer director Arnie Harris and Steve Stone. Tom Brenneman. A beautiful day in New York. We're at Shea Stadium where the Cubs trail the Mets 4-2. Cone will go to work on Andre Dawson, Derek May, and Sammy Sosa in the Chicago 6th. Andre 0 for 2 is fly to left and line to Willie Randolph at second base. See the numbers on Cone. He is a free agent like Greg Maddux, Doug Drabek, and Greg Swindell, just to name a few of the top pitchers around baseball this upcoming winter.
Well, that's who's eligible right now. You never know what's going to happen between now and the time it takes to file for free agency and actually go through the process.
Power versus power right there, and Cone got the better of it.
I would think most of the teams, Tom, will make a valiant attempt at signing the free agents they have, especially if they're as valuable as David Cone, before they look at anybody else's free agents.
Tossing out on strikes. Number 3 today by David Cone, is 189th overall this season. Well, when you look at guys like Cone, Sid Fernandez, Dwight Gooden, not going to include Saberhagen, it's his first year with the Mets. But you go back to fellas like Jerry Koosman, John Matlack, the great Tom Seaver. Yet this franchise has never had a no-hitter pitched in a Mets uniform. Seaver got his pitching with Cincinnati.
Tom had a couple of shots against the Cubs, both broken up in the 9th inning. Once by Jimmy Qualls, I believe, and the other by Jungle Joe Wallace.
Did you ever have a nickname?
No.
Oh, come on.
Well, Stoney. Everybody I think named Stone in the world, his nickname is Stoney. Other than that, no nickname. I was just happy to have a contract most of those years.
2 balls and 3 balls and a strike now to Derek May.
Derek May has had some pretty good cuts at David Cone, as have most of the left-handers today. That not being one of them, but he was able to fight it off. Anytime you get a 3-2 curveball from a man who throws 92 miles an hour, it's going to be a tough pitch to stay alive. But he did just that.
Ball 4 from Cone to Derek May. That's the first walk of the afternoon from the New York right-hander. And now the tying run comes to the plate, and Sammy Sosa, who just missed knocking one out of here. He whacked it into the second deck, but fouled his last at bat.
I don't know if you've heard about the great ice crisis here at Shea Stadium, Tom, but Mandy Cone delivered us some water. No ice at all.
Yeah, well,
must be a big problem here.
It's a hot day. But it has been nice having Mandy with us in the booth. It's been, to a large extent, like a home away from home.
Sammy with a good swing at David Cone, and he's hit the ball hard twice. Just missing a home run once as it curved foul in front of the pole.
The 0-1 and a swing and a miss. Sammy singled to center field back in the second, stole a base and scored a run on Vizcaíno's hit.
That hand might be bothering him on that swing. You saw him take a long, slow walk, and that's not usual. Sammy will take some time, but he usually doesn't leave the batter's box for that long. And there's Jim Bullinger up and getting ready.
0-2 to Sosa, 1 on and 1 out. Cubs trailing 4-2. Cone tried the fastball upstairs, and Sammy wasn't biting.
David Cone's fastball is perceptibly better than it was early in the game, so he is starting to tune it up.
Cone has won 7 straight decisions with a .291 ERA. He has not lost a game since June the 10th against Montreal. There's that hook. Sammy went after it, and he's out for the 4th strikeout of the game.
That's an unhittable curveball, and the only chance you have is if you take it. It's out of the strike zone, and the rotation is so tight that you can't pick up the fact it's a curveball right away. Sammy had no chance at all.
Wilkins is lined to right and struck out, and he's down 0-1.
Early in the game, Cone could not throw his fastball by anybody. Now he's throwing it by everybody.
Mets are 16-6 in Cone's 22 starts this season. They love it when he goes to the hill, and there was a nasty pitch that Wilkins couldn't get.
That was one of the few changeups that he's thrown today, and he completely fooled Wilkins.
So Derek May over at first base, 2 away here in the 6th inning. Cubs are trailing the Mets 4-2. And 0-2 to Wilkins. Cone has fanned the side. 6th time this year, 46th time in his career. 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 6th, 4-2 Mets. Lynn Ellis to the left, the wife of Sammy Ellis, and of course Gail Coletti on the right. And son Lou back in the 6th inning. And Randolph bounces out. Mets leading 4-2 over Morgan and the Cubs. This certainly will be Morgan's final inning of work, or at least you would assume. He is due up second in the 7th.
Well, I'm sure that Jim Lefebvre is going to go to the bench. He's got a hill to climb against a very tough opponent in David Cone. I'd like to send along best wishes on a speedy recovery to Willie Sneed Sr., the father of one of our cameramen back in Chicago. He's recuperating at St. Joseph's Hospital in Chicago.
Dick Schofield has been in the thick of the action all afternoon. A fielder's choice RBI in the 2nd, a bunt single in the 4th. To Dick Schofield. David Cone waits on deck. I notice you've lit up a brand new cigar there, Stoney.
Only because Mandy Cone insists that I do that at least 3 times a game here in New York. 2-2. Cubs are waiting for David Cone to get tired. Forget it. He looked better last inning. He's looked all game, and the fastball looked about a foot faster. And that's been his modus operandi, completing 7 games this year, 5 of them shutouts.
3-2 to Schofield. Morgan delivers. Hit hard, but at Sanchez. The shortstop throws out the shortstop, and there are 2 away in the Mets 6th inning. You're looking ahead of the Cubs 7th. Vizcaíno, then a pinch hitter for Morgan, and back to the top of the order with that man, Ray Sanchez. Really, Ray has done a fine job in the absence of Sean Dunston this season at shortstop. Drills one to deep right center field. Sosa will flag it down, which ends the inning. We head for the 7th. Harry back on board. It remains New York 4, the Cubs 2.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Carey with Steve Stone and Tom Brenneman as we go to the top of the 7th. Today's designated Bud batter, by the way, is Emil C. Zettel from Morton Grove, Illinois. He has a chance to win $100 immediately and a share in a $10,000 bonus pool to be awarded at the end of the season. So congratulations and good luck to Emil C. Zettel of Morton Grove, Illinois, today's designated Bud batter.
I mean, Dwight Smith in the on-deck circle. He's coming on to pinch hit for Mike Morgan. Ken Patterson loosening in the pen.
Cubs trail by 2. Swings, fouls it back. Jose Vizcaíno who's 2 out of 2. The Cubs have had 7 hits. They've out-hit the Mets and have out-aired the Mets, but they have not outscored the Mets. The Mets lead 4-2. 1 ball, 1 strike. David Cone struck out the side in the 6th. The pitch. A little bit outside.
David Cone has now thrown 103 pitches. And we're just starting the 7th inning.
He now has 191 strikeouts for the year. Ball 3. 3 balls and a strike. Dwight Smith will be the pinch hitter. Now the delivery. Ball 4. He walked him. And Vizcaíno's been on base every time. 3 in a row. He homered last night.
Dwight Smith 11 for 41 as a pinch hitter this year with a home run and 4 runs batted in, hitting .257 overall. He's hit a couple of home runs with 9 runs batted in, and a big opportunity here against David Cone. The Cubs have got to get something going.
Here's Dwight Smith. High, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Runner at first. The Cubs trailing by 2. The ball game's in the 7th. On the delivery, here it is. Swung and he missed. He had a good cut on a low fastball.
The pitch is starting to pile up on David Cone. The bullpen springs to work for the Mets. Looks like Jeff Innes, the right-hander, and probably Lee Guterman, the left-hander.
Now ready. And the pitch. A little bit low and inside. Ball 2. The White Sox lead Seattle 3-2 in the 5th. The Cardinals over the Pirates now 1-0 in the 8th. Now the pitch. Swung and he missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lee Getterman, the left-hander. Jeff Innes out of Decatur, Illinois. Bob Skeffington Country, the right-hander, working for the Mets in the bullpen. 2-2. Ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes, a big pitch. Strike. Now ready. The pitch. Drills it foul. He swung at a bad ball, but he hit it hard, although foul in the right field.
Outfield playing fairly deep. Coleman plays a very deep center field as opposed to Sosa's very shallow center.
Now ready. 3-2 pitch. He walked him. And now we have the top of the batting order coming up.
Oh, we may see a trip to the mound, and we are. Mel Stottlemyre coming out after 2 straight walks. He wants to find out how David Cone is feeling. And it's a humid day here in New York, although it's not overly warm today. Cone probably right around 110 pitches right now. So he's had a lot of work.
Cone breezed through the first 5 innings without giving up a base on ball. He walked 1 among the 3 strikeouts he got in the 6th. And now he's walked the first 2 men up in the 7th.
And Montague is going to have to break this up because Stottlemyre is just stalling for time. And as Montague starts walking to the mound, Stottlemyre comes back. So he got his bullpen about an extra 15 pitches right there.
And let's see. I would imagine.
I would think he's going to be bunting on this play with Sandberg and Grace and Dawson due up. And he'll want to bunt it right at Magadan.
Hey! Hey! There's the wheel. He bunts the ball in the air, and foul. Boy, he tried to bunt a high fastball, and Chuck Cartier comes down the line to talk to him. The way that infield is moving, He almost has got to hit the ball.
Or if they use the same type of rotation, he can just bunt it right at shortstop. But that's easier said than done against David Cone, whose fastball moves all over the place. If you can get a bunt right down at shortstop, there's nobody there to field it. Cone charging straight in, Magadan charging in from third. And that time Schofield racing to third.
Now the pitch. There they tried to pick-off play. That's a variation of the wheel. The shortstop starts running for third, hoping to induce the runner to break towards third. And the second baseman takes the pick-off throw. 0-1 the count. Now ready. The pitch. A good bunt. The only play is going to be the first base. And the tying runs in scoring position. Sanchez sacrifice. And Sandberg and Grace.
Excellent bunt by Ray Sanchez, who really knows what he's doing. He's a winning type ball player, and although the batting average is not way up there, he will do the things that it takes to win baseball games. That's one of the reasons why he's been playing every day at shortstop.
Runners at second and third. Sandberg drove in the run in the fifth to pull the Cubs within one. And then the Mets utilized a wild pitch to regain their two-run lead by scoring one in the bottom of the inning. And the pitch. Fastball is high. 1 ball, no strikes, 1 out. 32,086 paid. The pitch. Ball 2. And they're getting Getterman ready, I'm sure, to pitch to Grace should he lose Sandberg.
Well, tough decision for Jeff Torborg if he does lose Sandberg. Guterman is a sinker balling left-hander, and they say that he throws ground balls.
Now ready. The pitch. Strike called over the outside corner. 2 balls and the strike. Gallagher in right. Coleman in center. Boston in deep left. The pitch. Swung at a bad ball, high and inside. He was going for the downs on that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. He chased a high fastball.
McCone throws a lot of those curveballs in the dirt, so a lot of pressure on Todd Hundley. McCone tries to get a little too much on a curveball.
Now ready. Hundley's still in the crouch. Now we're ready again. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ooh, he had a good cut at that. A high fastball. And Sandberg had a good cut, fouled it back. Two balls, 2 strikes. The pitch. Struck him out on a curveball. Strikeout number 6. At 192 for the year.
Decides to go with a curveball, and it's a dandy. Sandberg just way out front, fooled by location and velocity.
Here's Grace. He's had a double today. Whoa, would make great save by Todd Hundley. Saved the run from scoring. Hits into the dirt.
Very tough play for Hundley, and he's able to come up with it. So David Cone and the Mets get a big break there. Now, surprisingly, Dave Gallagher in right field is not deep for Grace. Plenty of room over his head, and Grace showed him he can do that in the third inning.
Swung, and he fouled it back. And the count is evened up, a ball and the strike. 2 men are out.
Grace knew he got a very hittable fastball right there, but just fouled it back.
Runners at second and third. 2 out. Here goes the nail for Chicago again. One ball, 1 strike. Mark Grace digging in. Fouled it out of play. I know most people think it's good baseball, Steve, and I agree with you, it's sound baseball, but shouldn't there be a difference with whether you're playing on the road or at home? Why give away one of your 3 outs when you need 2 runs to tie? Here's the pitch way outside.
I think, Harry, that if it was down in the order, he probably wouldn't have bunted. But going through the middle of the order, Sandberg has hit Cone so well. You figure with Sandberg, Grace, and if anybody gets on Dawson, you got to figure if those guys can't do the job, well, then the job might not get done today.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on. There's a drive, but foul. Way foul. Foul so far. I'm inclined to believe that Cone threw it so it would be foul. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. 2 men in scoring position. On a bad pitch. Strikeout number 7. He has fanned 5 the last 2 innings. And we go into the bottom of the 7th. The Cubs still trailing 4-2.
1-1 this year. The ERA down to 270 on for the 20th time. 23 1/3 innings. Given up 4 home runs, 3 of those in his first performance. 15 walks, 16 strikeouts, and he's got to hold the Mets in check.
And he has the top of the batting order, starting with Vince Coleman. 1 ball, no strikes. Pittsburgh batting in the bottom of the 8th, trailing the Cardinals 1-0. Hot shot. Right at Sanchez over to first. Coleman. Hits the ball hard. Sanchez threw him out. Let's pause here for station identification.
This is WGN TV Chicago, America's #1 sports station.
Dave Magadan. Who's 2 out of 3. He's hit the ball hard today. Facing the left-hander Patterson. Strike call. Patterson been throwing the ball much better of late.
I think his arm is finally 100%, Harry, and he was having some difficulties, but now he's got a lot of zip on the fastball.
There's a pitch high. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Cardinals 1-0 over the Pirates, who are batting in the bottom of the 8th. Montreal. 1-0 over the Phillies, who are batting in the top of the 9th. Cincinnati 1-0 over Houston, who's batting in the top of the 6th. There's a strike call.
Bob Scanlon, Jim Bullinger loosening up in the bullpen, and it's good to see Scanlon back up and throwing.
Morgan allowed only 5 hits but 4 runs in the 6 innings he pitched. The big blow is Eddie Murray's 2-run homer. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Pitch set up another run for him. There's a drive, right field, going back. Dawson, he's there, and he has it. 2 away. Magadan fly to Dawson. Dawson will lead off the top of the 8th. It'll be Dawson, May, and Sosa. Darryl Boston. For 3, takes a curve. 1 ball, no strikes. The Yankees at Toronto tied up 5-5 in the 7th. That evens the count, a ball and a strike. Baltimore leading at Boston 2-1 in the 9th.
Even if Patterson does not get Boston, you want to face Eddie Murray from the right side. 8 of his 10 home runs have come as a left-hand hitter. So Patterson will stay in the game to face Murray, I'm sure.
Strong, and he missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pop ball on the play. Over 32,000 fans paid. Final score, Montreal shut out Philadelphia 1-0. A little bit low and outside. I think that was Nabholz for Montreal. Yeah, that's who it was. And for Philadelphia, then Rivera. Three balls, 2 strikes. Fouled it back again. Fouled it back.
Pretty good at bat for Darryl Boston. He hangs tough against Ken Patterson.
Little bit high. Ball 4 with 2 out. Eddie Murray comes up. He's walked, hit a 2-run homer, and bounced out. The 2-run homer he hit in the 3rd off Mike Morgan is his only hit in the series. He's 1 out of 9.
Here's a look at Jeff Torborg, and one way or the other, this game is going to be very costly for the Mets because they lost Bobby Bonilla for at least 2 weeks. Diving across the foul line, he broke a rib, and he's on the disabled list. Sanchez was not paying attention, because as soon as the move goes to first, you have got to be at second base. And Sanchez never got to the bag. Mark Grace didn't have anybody to throw to. But watch it again. Good move by Patterson. That's the good end of it. Here's the bad end. Sanchez never got to the bag, and he didn't anticipate the move of Boston, and that's his second stolen base of the game, his 8th of the year.
And now they have a man in scoring position. He misses a curveball. I guess Sanchez is playing Murray to pull so much. That's probably why he had a little trouble getting over there. But he should have been there, you'd think. One ball, one strike.
That's one of the few times that Ray Sanchez has not anticipated a play. He's played heads-up baseball for the Cubs, but you have to anticipate. He's got about 40 feet to go to the bag, and Boston had about 70.
One ball, one strike. 2 out. After me. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Houston has tied up Cincinnati. 1-1 in the 6th. Montreal had beaten the Phillies 1-0. And St. Louis is batting in the 9th, leading in Pittsburgh 1-0. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. A runner at second. Bouncing ball, foul. Walk 3. Struck out 2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Murray, after bouncing out in the 2nd with 2 out in the 3rd, on a 2-ball and a strike count, homered. Bouncing ball. Throw to first in time to retire the side. No runs, 1 left. At the end of 7th, 4-2 Mets. The 93 strikeouts for the year. There's Dawson. Ball in there, a strike call. Minnesota beating Milwaukee 5-0 in the 7th. White Sox have a 4-2 lead over Seattle in the 6th. There's a pitch foul back. 0-2.
Andre has been having a tough time lately, and if David Cone gets him out in this at-bat, he'll see that batting average drop under 250 for the first time in a long time.
He's nothing out of 8 in this series. Curveball outside. He dropped down to the side on that curveball.
Anthony Young getting loose, and he's 8 for 8 in save opportunities this year.
Hey, Randolph lost the ball, and Gallagher comes in to make the catch. Randolph lost the ball. The skies are partly cloudy, and then Dick Schofield came racing over, but Gallagher made the catch from right field.
Any one of 3 could have caught it. A heads-up play by Dave Gallagher coming in. He really helped out Schofield. Randolph had no chance after he broke straight in on that pop-up that carried well over his head.
Pittsburgh Pirates batting in the bottom of the 9th. The Cardinals are leading 1-0.
David Cone right now at the 132 pitch mark. And that is up there in this day and age.
You know, if it doesn't affect him today or this season, couldn't it possibly affect his career?
I'm not sure. He's very strong here. He's got a very strong arm, and he doesn't seem to mind getting up in the 150 range.
There's a base hit for Derek May. May singles to center. There's Sammy Sosa. And you're always hoping for the miracle when Sammy Sosa comes up there.
Derek Mays had a very good swing today every time up, and he goes down to get this fastball and drives it into right center field. So Derek showing that he can hit even the best stuff of David Cone.
He's 2 out of 3 today. And here's Sammy. If he gets hold of one, he could tie it up in a hurry. Had a good cut at a high curveball, fouled it back.
Well, unfortunately, that was probably the one hanger he's going to see from David Cone, and that came spinning up there. Cone hanging the curveball. That's a sign of some fatigue. As Todd Hundley looks over in the dugout, I'm sure that he's very happy to have gotten away with that hanging curve.
0-1 the count. Strike 2 call. A fastball. You could hear that ball pop into Todd Hundley's glove. And Sammy's in the hole. He's 1 out of 3. Struck out his last time up. Curveball outside. The Cubs have had 8 hits. The Mets 5. But the Mets lead 4-2. To Chicago today. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Struck him out swinging. And so here is Rick Wilkins. He hit his first major league home run in this ballpark a year ago.
Despite the fact that David Cone had just 1 strikeout through the first 3 innings, he has tuned it up, and he now has 8.
He had only 2 for the first 5 innings. And now he has 8. Fastball is low. 2 out, a runner on at first base. We're in the 8th. 38 pitches. 2 balls, no strikes. Vizcaíno would be up there next. Pirates are batting in the bottom of the 9th. St. Louis leading 1-0. Montreal beat the Phillies 1-0. High pop foul out of play. 2 balls and a strike. High fly ball to left field, going to be a foul ball out of play. And the count is even up 2-2.
Last time David Cone got in a situation to fan Wilkins, he got him on a good fastball. Time before that, he got him on a good straight change.
Struck out Sanchez once, Sandberg once, Dawson once, Sosa twice, Wilkins twice. There's a high fly ball. Coleman is there to retire the side. One hit, one left. We go in the bottom of the 8th. 4-2 Mets. Harry carried back at Chase Stadium. Bob Scanlon comes in to pitch for the Chicago Cubs.
He's the second reliever of the game, and Bob Scanlon, 3-5, pitching for the first time in over a week. The ERA 2.06, and it's the Rolaids relief break. In the National League, Norm Charlton on top with 66 points. Lee Smith right behind him with 60. The American League is all Dennis Eckersley, 105 points on 33 saves. 69 for Aguilera. So Eckersley running away with it, but very close in the National League, and that's the Rolaids relief break.
We haven't seen Scanlon for 3 or 4 days. Been resting a sore shoulder. And he'll be facing Dave Gallagher here in the bottom of the 8th. The Cubs have only one more chance in the 9th. High pop foul out of play. Pittsburgh batting in the bottom of the 9th, trailing St. Louis 1-0.
Scanlon's only allowed 2 earned runs in his last 12 appearances, covering 16 in the 3rd innings.
1 ball, 1 strike.
The only thing you worry about when a man has not been on the mound in over a week is control.
Bounces. That's that forkball he throws. 2 balls and a strike. Seattle and the White Sox are tied up. Minnesota beating Milwaukee 5-0. There's a line drive foul down the right field line. Gallagher's hit the ball pretty well today after replacing Bobby Bonilla, who was injured and went on the disabled list. He's sure to miss the next 15 days. Two pitch. High fastball. The Pirates have tied up the Cardinals and are still batting. And Lee Smith is pitching for St. Louis. I don't know whether it came in to start the 9th. Just changed the number when they put up the 1 for Pittsburgh.
There's a look at David Cone, who's had quite a day today. Perhaps not his best stuff, but he is some battler. He's thrown more pitches so far than we've seen any pitcher throw this year in a game, but not as many as he's thrown. Topped out at 167 earlier this year.
So Gallagher's on with the base on balls, and David Cone, or Hundley, will be the hitter. There's the ball that's bunted. The only play will be to first base. Hundley sacrifices Gallagher to second. And there's Willie Randolph. Pittsburgh has tied up the ball game and is still batting in the bottom of the 9th. Fastball outside.
John Franco is getting loose in the bullpen for the Mets. He's just back on the active list.
Dick Schofield, the shortstop, is next. A little tap back to him. Throw to first. Ooh, boy, he let loose on that throw. 2 men are out. I thought he was going to throw that ball over the right field fence.
Always an adventure when Bob Scanlon has to throw to first base. But in games past, he hasn't tried to get a lot on the throw, and it's really hurt him. This time, he realizes he's got to hurry. A slowly hit ball, and he pumps it up. Gets it to Grayson plenty of time.
And the Pirates have beaten the Cardinals 2-1. They got 2 in the bottom of the 9th. You know, the Mets that hope to be at their full strength. They have about 10 games to play with Pittsburgh in the next couple of weeks. First strike call.
Chris Donald's in the on-deck circle. So at least for the time being, if Schofield keeps it alive, Donald's will pinch hit for Cone.
Foul ball into the stands. 1 ball, 2 strikes. They start a series in Pittsburgh Tuesday. Already 1 ball, 2 strikes. Into the dirt. Good save by Rick Wilkins. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. 4-2 Mets, who've been out hit by the Cubs 8-5. Struck him out to end the inning. No runs, 1 left. At the end of 8, the Mets lead 4-2. Harry Carey with Steve Stone. John Franco, the fine relief pitcher of the Mets, who's been on the disabled list, has come off of it, and he's going to be seeing action right now. He replaces David Cone, who allowed 8 hits, 2 runs, and 8. Walked 3 during his 8 innings.
Last time Franco pitched was June 28th, so he has not been on the mound in a while. He's 6-1, the ERA 144. On for the 23rd time, and he's got 11 saves and 13 save opportunities. Now, the Mets have quite a streak going this year when they've taken the lead into the 9th inning. They're 40-0 this year when that's happened. And since September of 1990, they've won 106 straight games when they've had the lead in the 9th. Well, they've got it here in the 9th, and that's a long trend to buck for the Cubs. But they've got a chance because in years past, they've hit Franco pretty well.
Well, the Cardinals led the Pirates 1-0. Lee Smith went in, was entrusted with the 1-run lead in the bottom of the 9th. A single by Jeff King scored Andy Van Slyke, and a single by Slaughter scored King. And that's how the Pirates beat Lee Smith and the Cardinals, scoring 2 in the bottom of the 9th. All right, let's get something going against John Franco. Strike call. Nothing wrong with his control.
Turns over the fastball to the right-hand hitters, and it looks like a very hard screwball. Normally, you've got to hit him to right and right center field as that ball continues to move away from you.
Swung to the middle. He has a 1.44 run average. won 6. He's lost 1. He's saved 11. That evens it up, 2-2. Vizcaino's been on base every time. A single driving in a run in the 2nd. A single and then scored a run in the 5th. And he walked in the 7th. We're in the top of the 9th.
Luis Salazar in the on-deck circle. He'll come on to pinch hit.
There's a looping liner, a base hit. Vizcaino makes it a perfect day. That's the 4th straight time he's been on base.
Batting for the pitcher.
Salazar is going to be the pinch hitter. Oh, for a long one. Salazar, 3 out of 11 as a pinch hitter. Hitting .220 for the year. No homers. Strike call. He's had 3 homers, 16 RBI.
Franco has not given up a home run, but bear in mind, when you haven't been on the mound since June 28th, things change.
Ground ball, looks like a double play out at 2nd, out at 3rd. 5, 4, 3.
Well, maybe things don't change that much, as Luis Salazar has had a tough year. Takes a fastball in on his hands, and it's easy after that.
And so, with 2 away, and here's Sanchez. With runners at 1st and 2nd, nobody out, trailing 4-2 in the 7th, he's sacrificed. Then Sandberg and Grace both struck out. And the inning. 0-1. Ground ball, this should be the ball game. And it is, and the Mets win the series 2 out of 3. And Franco picks up his 12th save of the season. Now they're all congratulating each other out there in the center of the diamond. Well, this has been a tough day because Pittsburgh won and the Cubs have lost. So the Cubs now are 6 games out of 1st place. Montreal stays 2 games back. The Mets stay 5.5 games back. And the Cardinals now are 8.5 out. Well, a long day. And the Mets made everything go for them. And although they made only 5 hits, they win the ball game 4-2. And I don't care if Eddie Murray plays until he's 50 years old. He's always going to be a hitter to fear.
Well, he's always gotten the big runs batted in for the Mets. Before that, he got them for the Dodgers, and before that, he got them for Baltimore. And I think the one real mistake that Mike Morgan made, he had a 2-0 count on Murray, threw him a curveball. He took it. A 2-1 count, he threw him a high fastball. And quite obviously, Morgan didn't want to get it up above the belt, but he did. And Eddie Murray, who has made a career out of it, took it out of the ballpark, and that really was a difference in this game. David Cone threw 142 pitches today. Didn't look like he was tiring too much in the late innings. The Cubs had their chances against Cone, but they just couldn't push across anything after getting the 2 runs. So with 9 hits, only 2 runs scored. And the Cubs really had a tough New York, Harry, because they came in 3.5 games back. They'll leave New York losing 2.5 games in the standings. And they will go into Montreal 6 games back, making that series even more vital than it would have been anyway.
You know, the Pirates have just finished a 4-game sweep over the St. Louis Cardinals at Three Rivers Stadium. All right, we'll be back in a moment.